Coming from culinary school, I have worked some fine dining restaurants, and I feel like fine dining is kind of a state of mind. You can still put the fine dining attitude towards more approachable and comfort food. So that's kind of what we decided we were going to do. So Mondays are meatloaf and martinis. Tuesdays, we do our chili and cinnamon rolls. Wednesdays are our ski and wine Wednesdays. Thursday is Thirsty Thursday. Fridays, we do clam chowder. And that's kind of what pubs are all about. A space for everybody to come in, feel comfortable, have a chat over beers or over a nice meal, talk about sports, talk about politics, talk about whatever, just bring the community together.
From northern Colorado, right there between the rolling plains and the Rocky Mountains, this is the Greeley Business Beat. Just your friendly, neighborly corner booth conversations with the incredible humans behind the businesses and local attractions that make Greeley, well, great. Join us as we dive into stories of the people and places that make up the very fabric of our community. Whether you're Greeley-born and raised or just passing through, we promise to pull back the curtains on some of our favorite community gems and introduce you to the neighbors who make this place special.
What's up, Greeley? I'm Amy Freeland, your host for the Greeley Business Beat, the show where we get up close and personal with local businesses that make Northern Colorado awesome. Today, we're serving up something hearty for foodies and pub lovers. On this episode of the Greeley Business Beat, we're pulling up a chair for one of Greeley's most beloved neighborhood spots, the Tavern at St. Michael's Square. Walk in and you'll hear laughter from the patio, smell something delicious coming off the grill, and see friends catching up over a cold pint. The Tavern isn't just where locals gather. It's where stories are shared, friendships are made, and good food meets even better company. At the heart of it all is Chef Chad Young, born and raised right here in Greeley. With more than 25 years in local kitchens and a culinary diploma from the Art Institute of Denver, Chad brings creativity and heart to every plate. Since opening the Tavern in 2010 and later taking ownership with his wife Wendy in 2012, he's built a place where good food, craft drinks, and community all come together. We're thrilled to welcome Chad Young from the Tavern at St. Michael's Square to the Greeley Business Beat podcast. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here today on the Business Beat.
Thanks for having me. It's exciting.
Yeah, so this is exciting for me. So before the podcast started, I was showing some pictures here of the Tavern. My daughter and I went and spent an hour or so just checking things out at the Tavern. It had been a little while since I had been there myself. And so it was great to kind of come back and reminisce and just re-experience the Tavern at St. Michael's. But I want to go back to the very beginning, not my beginning, but your beginning of the Tavern and how this all came about. So give us an idea and our listeners where the Tavern came from and how this all happened.
So I kind of fell into it. In 2010, I was kind of in between jobs looking for something. And we lived pretty close to the Tavern. We lived just across the highway. And I went over and I turned in a resume and visited with the owners there. And they were just happened to be looking for a chef. So ding. I lucked into a job there. So I kind of helped them develop a menu and we got started and we opened in May of 2010. The previous owners had never even really worked in restaurants before. They just thought it'd be fun to own a neighborhood place.
That just sounds like fun.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's open a bar in the neighborhood.
Sure.
But I think a couple of years into it, they realized a lot of work goes into, especially as an owner.
Right.
There's just so many things that go into it. So, I'd always kind of in my career thought about owning a place, and it was something in my mind that was pretty similar to what the Tavern was at that point.
Yeah.
So it was a good opportunity for me to kind of step in and take over.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I have a question for you.
Sure.
This is an odd question, but I know that everybody that goes in there has to ask this question. And that is the kitchen. So did you design the kitchen? Because it seems small to me, Chad. It seems small, but y'all are very efficient. I've sat and I've watched the game on the screen and I've watched you back there, putting these great dishes together. And I'm just like, I don't know that it's much bigger than my kitchen at home, and it's tiny. So,
it is pretty
tell
small.
me about that. Is that something? Did you design that, or did you fall into it?
Actually, before it was even the Tavern, it was a place called the Hobnobber that was opened when St. Michael's was first developed, even before the neighborhood around was developed by a developer that thought they'd come in and put everything all in one in this little town square.
Right.
So there was another restaurant where Mariposa is now,
Yep.
where
Yeah.
the First Farm Bank was a little grocery store and a coffee shop.
Yes.
And then there was an ice cream shop next to, I think it's where the fitness place is, Upward Fitness. It used to be an ice cream shop. So there's a kind of a lot of little things going on in there.
Yep.
And then about 2008, the real estate market crashed and
Yes.
all the bank things happened. So that kind of crumbled away and went away. So I didn't design the kitchen, but I've learned throughout my career that you have to take advantage of the space you're given.
Sure.
And you have to be efficient and work with what you've got. So
Yeah.
we've gotten really good at that. And,
Yes, you have.
and it's taken years and years of practice, but I think we're still getting there.
Yeah, I was kind of prepping a little bit for our interview today, and time just flies by. It was kind of shocking to me how long the Tavern has been there.
Yeah.
And now it's under your ownership.
Yes.
Now, at the beginning, I had kind of mentioned that when my daughter and I went into the Tavern and I walked around and I thought, things haven't changed that much. I mean, it still felt very warm and relaxing, and there were a few things that have changed over time. So when you purchase a new business, sometimes people just want to make a lot of changes.
Sure.
But the Tavern, I'm guessing you kind of wanted to keep the community in place.
And that's kind of what pubs are all about, is a space for everybody to come in, feel comfortable, have a chat over beers or over, a nice meal, talk about sports, talk about politics, talk about whatever. Just bring the community together. And the Hobnobber, when they designed it and built it, really kind of brought that all together and that feel. And so design-wise, we didn't really feel we wanted to make a whole lot of changes that way, because that's exactly kind of what I always pictured my own place would be. We didn't want anything too big or too small, but we felt, it was a good size for really what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
The biggest changes we made were from the menu.
So talk about that a little bit, because I'm not a chef myself. Can't say that I am, but I can make survivor food.
Sure.
But talk to us a little bit about the menu and how you come up with that. And coming from the Art Institute, I mean, I'm sure there's some fancier things that you could do, but
there are.
But I have to say the food that my daughter and I had was delicious.
Well, that's always good to hear.
It is.
So coming from culinary school, and I have worked some fine dining restaurants, and I feel like fine dining is kind of a state of mind. You can still put the fine dining attitude towards more approachable and comfort food. So that's kind of what we decided we were going to do.
That's awesome.
A big part of that was using local Colorado products as much as we can. So when we took over, we decided we were doing all Colorado beers. Then we started easing into it, and we brought in some Colorado wines. And then we brought in the majority of our spirits now, our whiskeys, our vodkas, are all Colorado products as well. So when we first started making that switch, a lot of people told us, well, you can't do that. You can't do that. You've got to have this on tap. You've got to have this on tap.
Right, right.
Well, no, we don't.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've been pretty successful with strictly sticking with Colorado craft beers and spirits and wines.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that that's something that is growing in Colorado, or it seems like it, is that you do have enough variety out there that you can have that behind the bar and you can change it up and do different things. And that's the one nice thing about being in Greeley and being in Colorado, is that is available to you.
Sure.
So I want to talk a little bit about some of the different things that you do out at the Tavern to support community. We were talking about your Bears, University of Northern Colorado Bears shirt. So let's start with the UNC Bears. I know that you have kind of an event, maybe it's, I don't know if I call it an event, an opportunity for folks to support UNC athletics. So tell us more about that.
Sure. So every week we pick a different beer, and we call it the Bear Beer. And every week we take a portion of those sales and we pool it together. And at the end of the month, we make a donation to UNC.
Wow.
Sometimes it'll go towards the NIL fund. Sometimes it'll go to other programs. Sometimes it'll go to arts programs. Just kind of depends on who we talk to and who we feel needs the donation at the time.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that your wife graduated from UNC. So is that the tie-in, or is it just love of Bears and all
growing up in
gold?
Greeley, UNC was always there, and it was a big part of us growing up.
Yeah.
The Broncos training camp was there when I was a kid for a very long time. So we always went to UNC, and where the practice fields are now was a big sled hill when I was a kid. So we were there, every winter as well. But my dad is a UNC alum. My mom is a UNC alum. My youngest son is a UNC alum.
Nice.
So, I've got a lot of ties to UNC.
Yeah.
And I think just UNC is a big part of Greeley. And I think being part of the university is being part of the community as well.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about that relationship with other businesses, whether they're in the square or just across Greeley, how that maybe supports you or maybe how you support them.
Well, I think the biggest things I learned growing up in the restaurant business was restaurants supporting restaurants. It's always going to be a good thing. And we've learned now that we're owners that not just restaurants supporting restaurants, but restaurants supporting other businesses or other organizations. It helps everybody. So, we just always thought it was important to be part of the community and get out there and help out people as much as we can and be involved with whatever we can.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the different things that people can experience when they come out to the tavern. So we talked about the bear beer. What are some of the other things that you have available for folks? If I remember, there's some trivia and a few other things, something about whiskey and martinis. So tell us more.
So we try to do something every day of the week. So Mondays are meatloaf and martinis. So every Monday we do meatloaf as our food special, and we do a discount on all our martinis. So with our food, we do a lot of comfort food because, I just feel like pub food is comfort food.
Yes.
Tuesdays, we do our chili and cinnamon rolls, which if you're not from Greeley or Northern Colorado, or you mentioned Kansas.
Yeah, that's right, Kansas.
Chili and cinnamon rolls sounds weird to a lot of people, but that's one of my favorite school lunches that I had growing up as a kid.
It's delicious. Yes.
Wednesdays are our whiskey and wine Wednesdays. So our wine and our whiskeys are discounted on Wednesdays. Thursday is Thirsty Thursday, and all our beers on tap are $3.50.
Ooh.
So that's half price or more than half price for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Fridays, we do clam chowder. That's our big draw for Fridays.
Really? Clam chowder?
Clam chowder.
Okay.
Saturdays, we do $6 burgers and discounted craft beer cans. So $3.50 for a craft beer can and $6 for a burger. So for under $10, for cheaper than a value meal at McDonald's, you can get a burger and a beer.
Yeah. Wow.
And then
it's a good deal.
Saturdays and Sundays, we do brunch and bottomless mimosas, Bloody Marys. And then we have some great football specials on Sunday as well.
And then you have the trivia.
And we do, yes. Sunday nights, we do our trivia with Geeks Who Drink.
That's right. Geeks Who Drink.
Yeah.
I knew there was a name for it. All I could think of was geeks. And I didn't want to offend anybody.
So, and that's a lot of fun. It's 7 rounds of trivia, and it ranges everything from TV to sports to it's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there is a night or maybe multiple nights for everybody to come out and check out the tavern.
Sure.
So let's talk a little bit more about the business side of things.
Sure.
What would you say has been your biggest challenge being a business owner at the tavern?
Not being a business owner before.
Oh, this was your first?
This was my first.
Oh, my.
So
okay.
I worked in restaurants for a long time. I've always worked in the kitchen, and I learned to run a restaurant very well. But when we took over ownership, as our first business, there was a huge learning curve that first year. And I'm still learning now.
Yes.
But there's a lot of different things that go into ownership that, I never even would have thought of before.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me one of those.
Licensing is a big
one. Okay.
There's so many different things with liquor licenses and food service licenses and tax licenses and all these things that was just somebody else's job when I was running kitchens before.
It just happened.
And now all of a sudden I have to learn how to do this. And so that was a big thing right at the beginning. But like I said, restaurant business is ever changing, and we're learning every day.
Yeah, it's always a good thing. So here's a harder question. You could be anywhere. Why Greeley?
Because I was born here. I was raised here. I always saw a lot of potential in Greeley. I always saw people going to Fort Collins to this type of restaurant or going to Denver for this type of restaurant. And I always, in my mind, was, why don't people stay here?
Yeah.
And why can't we open a restaurant like that here and get people to stay in Greeley? So we're not all driving to Fort Collins, or we're not driving to Denver or wherever to go eat at a steakhouse or go eat at a pub or that serves local beer. When we first started, Crabtree was about the only craft brewery in Greeley.
Oh, yeah.
And now we've got Wiley Roots and we've got Weldworks and everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
So
look at us now.
We've got distilleries. We got 2 distilleries. So, which was something that Greeley never had before. So I think keeping people in Greeley was kind of just always a focus. Living in the city my whole life and always kind of loved it.
Yeah. So you made it through. You're a survivor. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's say that I'm kind of thinking about starting a pub or any kind of business. What advice would you give me? What would you suggest as far as, You mentioned all the licensing stuff,
Sure.
and yet you've now terrified me. But
Yes.
let's talk about that a
is
little bit.
terrifying.
Give me some advice.
I would say do some research and reach out to people like the Chamber of Commerce or the city and find somebody that can answer your questions and talk to them about the type of business you're looking at, what type of licenses, because I realized, yes, we sell liquor. I'm going to need a liquor license, but I didn't realize everything that went into the application process or
Sure.
everything that went into the licensing process for running a kitchen or, all the tax licenses that you have to renew every few years. So reach out to the Chamber of Commerce and find somebody that can help you navigate and learn the processes that go into starting the business.
Yeah, you're still scaring me, but okay. I will take your advice.
It's always going to be scary, but if we didn't do scary things, we wouldn't get anywhere.
That's right. There you go. Okay, so Chad is used to being scared. All right. We understand that. So what is the most bizarre or unexpected thing that has happened at your business?
Being in the restaurant business, there's always something.
Pick one.
I would say the most bizarre thing was, and it was a little bit scary, it was in the middle of a Friday night dinner rush. I had a bartender, as I was cooking on the line, look over to me and go, "Chad," pointing at somebody who happened to be having a seizure at the end of the bar.
Oh.
And I'm like, "I don't know what you want me to do. Call 911.
Right.
And she's like, "Already did." All right, I'm going to go back to cooking now. The person was fine. 911 showed up and they had seizures all the time and it was just kind of a hot, stressful thing that triggered the seizure. But I think that was pretty bizarre. That was one of the strangest things that happened in the middle of a rush.
Sure. So now the question is, did everybody receive some kind of emergency training after that?
We did. We did, actually.
You did.
We put together a kind of a training program for our next employee meeting.
Yeah.
That brought up, different types of emergencies that would come up. So, I know what to do when the power goes out because I was always trained that in the kitchen.
Sure.
But what if somebody's having a seizure at the bar, or what if this happens, or what if this happens? So we kind of walk through with everybody on some emergency situations and what we should do and what could happen.
Oh, gosh. So what's next for the Tavern?
That's a great question.
Thanks. I made that one up myself.
The answer now is probably different than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
This has been a pretty challenging 5 years for restaurants. And I would say that this year's been the hardest of all those 5 years. We always talked about another location. We talked about food truck possibilities. We talked about this. We talked about that. But now I think we've kind of scaled back a lot of our plans. And what I'd like to do is maybe just kind of go through. We are getting a little older, our building is, and we could use, some remodeling and some repairs done. But I think that's probably our next project. Get that all updated and fixed and maybe add some seating on and expand a little bit there before we look at a second location now.
Yeah, times change.
Yes,
Things
they
change,
do.
but it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, not at all.
It's okay. Have you ever had an oops moment?
Almost every day.
Almost every day?
It's
Yeah.
the restaurant business. There's always something that oopses. So my biggest oops moment at the Tavern was we had a big group coming in and they wanted creme brulee for dessert.
Okay.
So in my haste, the salt and the sugar were right next to each other in the tubs. And instead of sugar in the creme brulee, I put salt. And that was oops.
I just always figure that there should be like this universal thing where salt always has to be in the blue container and sugar has to be in the red container. But then my brain starts thinking about, do you cut the blue cord
right,
or the blue wire or the red wire? So I'm
right.
like, okay, maybe that doesn't work very well.
After that, I learned to taste no matter what the container's labeled or what it looks like. I'm still tasting to make sure it's sugar.
That's so good. That's so good. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into just kind of your day-to-day. Tell us about creating that new menu, when it's time. How do you go about doing that? Is it recommendations or, somebody from the back of the crowd going, "Hey, chef, you should be making this"? I mean, where does that all come from?
Why we always listen to customer feedback. Somebody saying, "Oh, you should do this on your menu," doesn't always work out.
No?
We've learned that. It all comes together from different areas. So, we do daily food specials. So some of it comes from that. We'll try something and if it sells well, we'll try it again and see how that goes. We were doing a lot of beer pairing dinners for a while, and we've kind of switched that over to, we do a themed dinner now where it's not just paired with beer. We have different cocktails paired with a 4-course meal. So we do a lot of testing with those. That's a once a month thing. So we kind of get away from just doing burgers and pizzas with those meals, and we get to try some different things that might have end up on the menu. And a lot of it's collaboration with the staff too, is talking with them and what have you seen that's out there? You know, what magazines are you reading and looking through and seeing what are the food trends right now? So it's a lot of collaboration and talking with staff and friends and family and just kind of grabbing ideas everywhere. And as chefs, our minds are always running. And
you're thinking of something right now, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Like right now, you're thinking of something.
It doesn't necessarily always come from food. Sometimes it's you'll be watching a movie and go, that looks interesting. I wonder if we could do something with that. Yeah. Which is why we started doing our themed dinners instead of just the beer pairing dinners, because we've pulled from albums to movies to, you know, a little bit of everything with our theme dinners, and just kind of gets those creative juices flowing.
Sure. So thinking about your staff,
sure.
Let's say that I'm thinking about a career in like restaurant business or entrepreneurship or whatever that is. What would you say to yourself now if you were going back to that?
First thing I always tell anybody that's thinking of going to culinary school or starting a restaurant or wants to get in the food industry is to go work at a couple different places first and find out if you like it. The restaurant industry is different than a lot of places because we work nights, we work weekends, we work holidays when a lot of people are off. We work long hours. It's hot. It's cold in the coolers. You know, you're burning yourself. There's a lot of
He says that so casually. You're burning yourself.
I can show you my scars right now. But, you know, go work at a couple different restaurants and definitely work in something fast food. I think one, because then you learn the high pressure, the high volume, the high speed. And then I would say go wash dishes somewhere. Because the dishwasher is the heart of any restaurant because they see a little bit of everything. You're talking to the cooks, you're talking to the servers, you're talking to the bartenders, you're talking with the managers. You're seeing everything that's coming through the kitchen. You're seeing everything that's going out of the kitchen.
Right. What they're eating, what they're not eating.
What they're not eating.
Yes, what they're not eating. That's always
That's always a good place that I tell people to start. And then if you decide you like the restaurant industry, then you can dive further in and maybe you can move up from that dishwasher to a line cook. And maybe you can start looking at if you want to do culinary school or not, or if you want to get out of casual dining into fine dining, you can think about those kind of things.
Yeah, awesome. So one more behind the scenes here a little bit. If your business had a blooper reel, what moment would be the highlight?
I think any of our Halloweens in the past would make great blooper reels with
Halloweens?
People walking in their costumes and staff walking in their costumes or staff seeing me in what my costume is for the day. There was one year I dressed up as the Swedish chef from the Muppets, and I think that was probably the biggest hit. I had the beard and the eyebrows that covered my eyes and everything. And
were you throwing food? Because that's very important. If you were him, you must be. I
quit throwing food a long time ago.
Okay. All right. I'm a little disappointed by that.
But we had a good time with it anyway.
And I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to see that costume. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a rapid fire round.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs.
Easy.
Any particular kind of dog?
Right now I have an American Bulldog mix.
Wow.
We've had Huskies. We had a Golden Lab mix.
Oh, they're good.
So we've had lots of dogs in our life.
All right. Here's the next one. Beer or wine?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Really?
It is.
Oh.
I think there's pluses to both of them, but I drink more beer than I do wine.
Okay.
So we'll go with beer.
All right. Are you early bird or night owl?
I'm an early bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that comes with the territory a little bit.
I'm usually at the restaurant about 5 a.m.
Yes. So one last question then, which is winter or summer?
Winter.
Because?
Winter, I can always get warmer. And I'm in a kitchen.
You're in a kitchen.
It's hot all the time. If it's hot in the summer, I'm hot everywhere. I'm hot in the car ride home.
Everything's hot.
I'm hot outside. So
yeah,
definitely a winter. And I am one of those Coloradans that wear shorts year round. So
yes, Coloradoan through and through.
Through and through.
Wear the shorts. You got the chapstick
in the pocket.
And the sunscreen.
That's right.
And you're ready to go. All right. Well, Chad, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And for being on the Business Beat.
Thank you.
Like what you're hearing on the Greeley Business Beat? Do us a favor and share this episode. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and be sure to leave a review. We'll be rounding up businesses and attractions each month, so sit back, tune in, and we'll be dishing up the stories that make Greeley great. The Greeley Business Beat is a production of the City of Greeley in collaboration with 1K Creative. Greeley is one of the few spots in Colorado that combines the best of everything the state has to offer. beautiful vistas, deep agricultural roots, easy access to the outdoors, and a vibrant and friendly community. Learn more at visitgreeley.com. And until next time, stay connected to the heart of Greeley.